Church, this morning we want to invite you to take a walk with Jesus. See, from the beginning, since Genesis, God has had a thing for walking in the midst of us. In Genesis 3, after God formed man like a potter forms clay, we find him walking in the garden in the cool of the day. In fact, throughout Scripture, if a man was close to God or considered God's friend, a writer would often use the phrase, "This man walked with him." So in a spiritual sense, the most important part of walking is knowing who you're walking with. Think of Genesis 5, chock full of men who lived and had some kids, then lived some more, and then they died, until verse 21, when a man named Enoch lived and had some kids and walked with the Lord his God. See, Enoch was different. He wasn't like the rest. He understood walking with God meant the last word is never death. But that's the challenge, isn't it? Walking forward in his promises and trusting they're not counterfeit. That's why Palm Sunday is so significant. Jesus spent his life walking up and down mountainsides, turning fishermen into fishers of men, giving sight to the blind and making the lame walk again. He walked toward the diseased and across stormy seas to set people free from the demons that were seizing them. He walked through crowds, one moment eager to enthrone him, the next desperate to stone him. He walked along lakes and stayed up late, withdrawing to solitary, lonely places to pray. He walked in compassion toward the cry of the poor in spirit and in zeal against those too busy, too proud, or too afraid to hear it. He walked without a Fitbit, for he knew and he taught that walking with God isn't about the number of steps or the miles, but walking through life with the heart of a child, even through trials, especially through trials. According to Jesus, that's what makes the walk worthwhile. In Matthew 16, Jesus began to explain, "I must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things and die, but on the third day be raised to life." In fact, whoever wants to be my disciples must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Talk about faith. In fact, faith is the heartbeat of Palm Sunday, because it takes faith to make a triumphal entry, knowing by Friday your cup will be empty. See, Jesus could walk through Sunday's gates knowing Good Friday's death was coming, in faith that the joy set before him would overcome it Easter morning. How did he do it? How do we do it? Well, the most important part of walking is knowing who you're walking with. And Jesus knew the word of Isaiah 43. "Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called you by name, you are mine. When you walk through the waters, I'll be with you. And through the rivers, they won't overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame, it shall not consume you. For I am Yahweh, your God. Fear not, I am with you." Church, this morning, Jesus invites you to take a walk with the only God worth walking with. He's the only God that calls us to lay down our lives as he laid down his, and the only God with the power to raise us all again.